How's it going? I'm Jared Gillis. Today, we're going to be looking at unlocking smart features inside of your RV. There's a lot of smart features that are packed inside of RVs, and there's things that we can do if you don't have some of those features that you can upgrade to. But we're going to see how many smart features we can unlock for RVing. So let's not waste any time. Let's get right into it. So starting off on our list is the smart thermostat. We now have options for being able to control your AC or heating functions inside of the RV through smart features. So it used to be not that long ago that the thermostat on the wall was a slider where you just kind of had to guess where the temperature was because you could never fully get it accurate. And it was great when we stepped up to digital, being able to accurately set the temperature. But now we can take it a step further and have the smart Wi-Fi features built into a thermostat. One of the popular options out there is the Micro Easy Start thermostat. It's a bit spendy, but it gives you a lot of control and even alerts if there's something wrong inside the RV for heat and cooling. So we haven't made the jump to that from our digital thermostat because one of our ACs already has it built into it. And this isn't the only one that has it built in like this, so you might want to check your AC to see if you have Wi-Fi functionality already in your RV, but this is the Gree Toso. I know the Turbro has it. There's several out there that have the ability to change and set the temperature right on the unit itself, have a remote for inside the RV, and then be able to use the app. So even if you're away from the RV, you have the ability to change the temperatures, see what it's set at, and set it so that it'll be at the temperature when you get to the RV if you forgot to set it what you wanted it to. So inside the app, you can just change the temperature and you can hear it change there. We don't even need to be inside the RV. One of the things that I've really liked about having that type of a function is on hot travel days where we know it's going to be over 90 degrees on the inside of the RV when we're done towing and we're going to be setting up in that heat. It's nice to about a half hour before we get to our destination, we can turn on the AC as we're driving. A passenger can turn on the AC. So when we get there and we're setting up, we at least have a cooler area to retreat to and to finish the setup on the inside rather than it being over 90 degrees in here and waiting for it to cool down. One of the benefits of having this feature with our inverter setup on the RV that you can do something like that. But moving on to number 2 is something that a lot of RVs come with nowadays. And you can tell me if I'm kind of the only one out there, but I think they're taking this one a bit too far, and it's the central command system inside of RVs. The OneControl or the J command, the ability to turn on a light when you come into the RV without having to find a screen to find a light is where my issue comes. I like being able to have just a regular light switch on the wall to at least turn on one light and be able to see what I'm doing. But so many RVs come to where it's like everything is tied into that one screen to be able to turn on and off lights throughout the RV. And we do have a physical switch to every single light inside the RV in this panel, so it's really not that bad. You walk in, you open this up, you have the lit switch in order to turn on the lights inside the RV. So that one's pretty simple, but our screen for the one command isn't even in here. So our screen and control center is down here in the bay, which isn't a terrible location, but it's not overly convenient as well. It's nice when you're setting up and tearing down to be able to have that screen out here as well. But the smart features built into it, being able to connect to it with Bluetooth and control it with your phone if you needed to. So if you needed to put the slide in and out and have eyes on it when you're outside, you have that ability. So it's nice to have some of those smart features built into it. It's a little awkward to get to it from out here, but at least it's protected from weather. So this is some of the smart features that came with our RV, but there's always things that you can do to add to your RV to gain some more function. So that's the next one. So this one here is our Power Watchdog Surge Protector. And with all the technology and smart stuff that's packed into it, it has one major flaw. But surge protectors aren't just surge protectors anymore. This is the EPO, meaning that it's going to shut down emergency power off if there's any problem whatsoever. But not just shut it off, it's going to alert you. And not just if you're around it. So a lot of them will connect by Bluetooth. This one connects by Wi-Fi. So even if you're not at the RV and something goes wrong with the power inside of the park, this is going to let you know that, hey, you got a problem, you need to get back and fix it if you want the power back on. So the smart functions come in when you can pull up the app and you can control it. You can turn that on or off even when you're not near the RV, or you can see the alerts and what the history is for what the problems might be. But the one big flaw that this can't do is it can't give you an alert if you lose power to the RV. And yes, we do have an entire Victron setup and the GX device over here, which can give us an alert if we lose power, but that would be an expensive upgrade just to be able to get an alert that you lost power. But that brings us to today's sponsor, because that can actually give you an alert if you lose power in the RV. And it's the Waggle monitor system. And this can do two things that the Power Watchdog cannot. Well, more than that, because they're two different intended purposes. But for one, this has a battery backup. So when the power goes out, it's still an on device. When the Power Watchdog loses power, it's completely turned off. So it can't do anything at that point. And the second thing is this has network connection. So that way it can still reach out to the network and alert you, where the Power Watchdog, if you lose power inside the RV, you might be losing Wi-Fi and all of that. But let me give you a quick rundown of all the smart features that are packed into this, because it does more than just power outages and temperature. This is a step up from the Classic. So now we have a power button on here, and we also have a screen on there to give you a display of the information right on the device. Of course, it's going to connect to your phone, so that way you can see all that information in a detailed way with graphs and settings, so you can set your temperature and humidity and all those different alerts. You can set that inside of the app. The other thing that sets this apart from the Classic, it has air quality index and it has GPS tracking. So if you wanted to put a geofence around your RV to make sure that it's not moving when you're not intending it to be moved, this will give you an alert. So it's an anti-theft device as well. And just like the Classic, this connects to cellular, so it's not dependent on Wi-Fi. They do have other Wi-Fi options and cameras available on their website, but this does the core function of monitoring the temperature and the comfort for your pets inside, so they can stay safe inside of the RV and get alerts if something is outside of those parameters that it's not safe. So links will be down in the description. If you're looking for a monitor that's going to alert you for temperature, humidity, power outages, air quality, and geofencing, use the codes down below to save 70% when purchasing off this monitor. Small device, lots of functions. So let's move on to our next item. This is one that's been around for a while, and we haven't gone all in on this one, but it's the RV lock system. So yes, we have this here. We have the matching keys and lock sets on our baggage areas, but they also have handles and all kinds of accessories. The one that kind of is the smart feature for me, well, this is kind of a smart unit in and of itself, is that you have a Bluetooth module to be able to connect up to your phone. So that way you can unlock your RV without a key, without a key fob, with just your phone. Not that it's difficult to get in with using a code or a key or a fob, but it's definitely an option out there. I'm curious if it works with an Apple Watch as well. That'd be kind of interesting. But on to our next one. So one of the smart features that I haven't kept up with is the tank sensors on our freshwater tank and the gray water tank. They're the tank sensors by Mopica. They've been known for their propane tank sensors. I didn't have great luck with those. And these, once the batteries died, I just haven't gotten underneath there to replace the batteries. The idea was to not depend on the sensors on the side of the tank, but have that sensor on the bottom of the tank and give you an accurate reading of what water is actually in there. And my hope was that I was going to be able to connect it to our Victron equipment with the GX device. But from what I remember, it seemed like sometimes the readings were off a little bit and the signal didn't always get to our Victron equipment, which was really the hope, so we can monitor it from anywhere. And this really is a standalone product that is a smart features packed into it all in its own. So you don't have to have Victron components in order to use the smart features built into the Venus operating system, because they made it open source. So you can literally drop it onto a Raspberry Pi and make your own open source monitoring system and be able to use their VRM portal. So if you wanted to check on tanks or temp sensors, or there's a whole host of things that people have added on to what they want it to be capable for beyond what just kind of comes stock from Victron. So they've made it very usable in a lot of different ways. So this definitely makes a list of smart features for RVing, for everything that it can do for Victron and really way beyond that. On to our next one. So now that brings us to a category that almost feels virtually endless, because you can have just about any type of add-on system that you wanted to for the RV and any little tiny device. There's devices for checking for water leaks that will give you an alert Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. You have temperature and humidity sensors that are Bluetooth or Wi-Fi if you wanted to make your fridge almost like a smart fridge and know what the temperature is inside without having to open the door. You have outlets that you can convert into being a smart plug so that you can turn on and off different things, or lights that are even smart in themselves where you can even change the color of them. You have cameras that you can use. The list can really go on and on. So what are some of those items that you like to use inside the RV that you kind of repurpose as smart items that you can take along with you? Or what is something that I kind of left off this list that is pretty obvious? So leave that down in the comments. I'd love to hear what some of your solutions and things that you like to use that make RVing even better. I guess I could have said smart TV. That's pretty low hanging fruit. That would have been pretty easy to add on to the list. But anyways, I think that's going to do it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope that it helped you out in some way. So as always, if we don't see you on the road, hopefully we will see you next video. Take care.